Hello and welcome to the Video Creator Show, where we talk the juicy details of how to succeed on YouTube. And what better way to do that than to talk directly to someone who has done it. Today, I'm speaking with Laurasia Andrea. She is a cosmetic and beauty YouTuber with over 500,000 subscribers and over 50 million total channel views. We'll be talking about how she built her online presence on YouTube and beyond, because clearly she knows a thing or two or three. But first, the Video Creator Show is brought to you by VidChops.com, an editing service that helps take the burden of editing off your back. Check out VidChops.com to see how you can save yourself tons of time and money while taking your YouTube channel to the next level. Laurasia, I gave a very brief description of what you do, but why don't you introduce the people and just kind of tell them what exactly it is you do and what you're all about.
So I'm Augie Andrea. Hey y'all. I am a hair personality, more so a individualist personality. I am all about people being themselves, being different. I am a Black African American woman who likes weaves. I also like wigs. I also love makeup. I love taking care of myself on a mental and self-care basis. I also am diagnosed with PCOS. I'm actually going more in the wellness aspect of YouTube most recently. But the thing that made me like the most famous, I guess you can say, like on my YouTube, was definitely the hair colors. I was always doing crazy colored wigs. I was doing a lot of replica celebrity style wigs. I would just basically take what I see on music videos or what celebrities are wearing, and I would just put my own touch to it. And that's literally what my channel is all about, how it started, and pretty much like what I just do now.
Mm-hmm. And so you said you're transitioning more recently. Is this because you've kind of been there, done that with wigs and cosmetics, or do you just kind of feel a passion to do something else? Because usually, like, I don't know, a transition, it's usually a long time coming. I'm just kind of curious about your mindset these days. What's leading to this?
This isn't something that me and my team have been talking about for probably a year now. So it's definitely been in the works for a while. It's not to say that I'm going to stray away what I came to YouTube to do. I'm still doing my basis on YouTube, which is just teaching people, instead of just mainly having that be taught as far as like their hair. It's going to be teaching them about taking care of themselves, because if you don't take care of yourself, everything else just kind of gets all jumbled up and it just kind of just doesn't make sense and goes downhill from then. So it's still in the same aspect of like what I've been doing lately, but I'm just adding to it instead of more so taking away.
I got you. That makes a lot of sense, and I feel like that's more wholesome too, in a way. It's like the
Yes, it is.
foundation of looking good is feeling good too, right? You know, taking care of
Exactly.
yourself and making sure you're in balance.
Exactly. Yeah.
hmm
You get it.
And
Yeah.
so, hmm and so what goes into that exactly? Like, how exactly is that different than what you've done in the past? Are you like, I'm gonna wake up at 5 a.m., go on runs? Like, what is the, what is the difference? Would you say?
So it's not what has been seen as far as like the lifestyle self-care aspect. I feel like ever since COVID, that has been like the main thing and the main topic that a lot of YouTubers are even going in. No matter what the YouTuber started out with, everyone's kind of going in a direction of like luxury, self-care, and all that. That's not what I'm doing. I'm more so doing as far as basing it off of what I was diagnosed with. I was diagnosed with PCOS, which is a health condition, and that was back in October of 2021. So when I say I've been talking about this with my team for a while, literally in the past year, I started coming out with the content because I want to bring focus on something that is just not out there and that people are just not talking about. So, what better person to do that than the person that number one got diagnosed with it? And I also have a platform to be able to speak and bring knowledge to the disease first, and also how to get through it on a daily basis, because this is something that we have to deal with for the rest of our lives. So, it was just more so this is something that has been happening with me. I am a YouTube personality, so why wouldn't I use my platform and the voice that I was given, to do so? So I would want to have someone do this for me. So I'm looking at it from a viewer's perspective. To be like, if I was going through this and I was watching my favorite YouTuber, I would want my favorite YouTuber to be talking about it if this is something that they were diagnosed with as well. So that's just kind of how I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like it's also healthy to have your real life, your kind of the things you deal with outside the YouTube channel to end up affecting the channel, right? It's more authentic to yourself and kind of the things that you know best, even. Do you mind me asking, like, what is PCOS exactly?
Good question, because not everyone even really knows what it stands for. It's polycystic ovarian syndrome, but the thing about it is it's not just one disease for every person. There's all different variations of the I'm going to stop first saying a disease because it's not a disease. It's a health daily symptom that we have to deal with.
It's a health condition, babe.
Babe, what is happening? You're supposed to be mute.
The peanut gallery.
Sorry, that's my partner. It's a health condition. Thanks, babe. What? It's a health condition. That's really what it is. So it's something that I don't want people to look at as like, oh my gosh, woe is me. It's just a condition that we just have to deal with on a daily basis. And everyone has a different variation of it. So that's why I want to use my platform to talk about my particular PCOS symptoms and my particular PCOS that I'm diagnosed with, and also to let it be known that not everyone deals with the same things because everyone has different symptoms. So a few of my symptoms can be I have a lot of hair loss, a lot of hair balding. I grow a lot of facial hair. I am super hairy. I have mood swings like intensely. I have super low blood sugar and blood count, meaning I am fatigued and tired a lot more than the average person. And I can also lose blood very easily than the average person. So these are just things that you kind of have to change your daily habits and your daily routines, because if you don't, I mean, I was very close to dying last year, so I'm not trying to go through the same thing again ever in my life. So that's why I'm like, this is something that is very serious because it can end fatal. So yeah, you have to take a number of supplements. It is a lot of medications I have to take on a daily basis as well. So it's a lot that goes into it. It's a whole non-complex issue.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm both sorry you're dealing with that and glad that you have found out ways to change your lifestyle to actually deal with it. And as far as like talking about it on your channel, I do feel like this is kind of in a way, this is like the new age of social media. I felt like with the past rise in social media, there was a big attempt to make your life seem as perfect as possible all the time. And now I feel like it's more important to just be like honest and to really talk about what is actually happening. And, to have some filter between your online presence and your personal life. But I think the key word is just honesty, and being realistic. And I feel like that's a healthy thing. And I'm glad you're using your platform and kind of transitioning like that. I do feel like it's healthy.
Thank you.
The next thing, the next thing I wanted to ask you about is you mentioned having a team. So this is obviously a show about building YouTube channels. And so I'm curious, what does your workflow look like exactly? Like, who do you work with? How do you work with them? What is your schedule? How does it all fit together?
Okay, so my team consists of two agencies, one that deals with Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Another is a agency that handles my YouTube, but they don't take over my YouTube. I found a company that can just help me as far as title ideas. I have someone that helps me with my graphic design as far as like my banners, my intros, my outros, things like that. I more so wanted to choose what I felt comfortable doing, number one, with my brand, and number two, what I needed help with. So I didn't want someone that was going to completely take over. And I just more so wanted to be the one handling everything. I love to edit my own videos. I love to come up with my own video ideas. I just wanted someone to help me as far as like the finishing touches of my content. And that's kind of what I found. I also have a manager that manages me and my personality because I know I can get very overwhelmed, overconsumed, overworked, and I need someone to just tell me, relax, calm down. I need someone to also just be talking to me like every day on a daily basis, checking in, seeing if I'm doing my work, if I filmed, if I didn't film. And if I didn't film, what else could I be doing? Could I be prepping for another video idea? Could I be prepping for another editing style, like anything to do as far as just having someone take care of me, and then I have the agency to take care of my work. Also, I found an app that I think every influencer needs to download ASAP. It's called Notions app. I'm not sponsored by them, but it's just really helpful because that has been the thing to change my entire aspect of organization when it comes to being an influencer. I felt like when I first started in 2017, 18, I just was not organized at all. I felt like I had a lot of content ideas and I had a lot of, I'm a creative. So my mind goes a million miles a minute. And sometimes it's hard for me to settle it down and calm it down. But having an app like Notion, I can put all my ideas into one app where it can organize and structure my entire life as well as my creative life and not intertwine those, but still keep both of them structured and organized. And also, I like to go on platforms like Pinterest to get a lot of content ideas as far as like Instagram, even my style, YouTube ideas, things like that. I definitely think that you should come up with your own content as far as being you, but also it's not a bad thing to find ideas from like other people, not so much copying, but more so just getting inspired. And my number one app to do that with is definitely Pinterest. Pinterest is not to be slept on. Pinterest is actually coming back. So you can actually start making money off of Pinterest too, as far as a creator. Another thing is being on Facebook as a creator. A lot of people don't even know that Facebook pays 3 times more than YouTube does. So being on Facebook as a creator, number one, get on it. Start putting your videos from YouTube on Facebook because it's important, literally.
So is there like a difference in how you post to Facebook versus YouTube, or is it just kind of like you throw videos up and like I'm just curious. I don't know much about posting to Facebook.
Facebook is a lot more complex. It's a lot more, the shorter video, the better. So on YouTube, like a minimum that you can get paid as far as monetization is 8 minutes on YouTube. But then on Facebook, your video can be 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, whatever. But my videos, my agency likes to stay within like the 3 to 4 minute range because it's a shorter time for people to really see the information. You could take whatever importance from your YouTube videos, put that on Facebook. Basically, the eye catchers of like your YouTube videos, shorten them down, put them on Facebook so that you're not really overworking yourself, really, because the content's already on YouTube, but you're just also getting another income from Facebook.
That makes total sense. Like you already have the content, may as well kind of upload it several places. With Facebook in particular, like, did you get into that after YouTube, or it kind of sounds like you did, or were you always just kind of posting wherever?
I got into it literally a year and a half ago. So I've been on YouTube for 6 years, and then I started my Facebook a year and a half ago. So
Hmm.
I didn't even really understand the whole concept of Facebook until like maybe 2 to 3 years ago. Never knew that influencers were making more money on Facebook. Never knew that even Facebook was like a video influencer thing until recently. And then especially when Meta took Facebook over. So once Meta took Facebook and Instagram over, they're literally trying to change those platforms for influencing. So that's really where it happened, is when Meta got on board, and then I started having connection with Meta, and then that's when they just kind of started like, now my Facebook is actually bigger than my YouTube at this point.
Hmm. What? So you said you have a connection with Meta? Like, do you like email back and forth? Do you talk over like a weekly meeting? Like, how does that work exactly?
So Meta is through the agency that I work with, but I also
Mm-hmm.
have a Meta rep personally, like for myself. And they are the people that invite me to influencer events. They also give me ideas as far as content that I can make as far as the wellness aspect of my YouTube. They just want to get me out, literally just out. They're kind of like my little mini PR people because they help like in that aspect. But I've been invited to LA as far as Meta. I've also I've also been invited to Rolling Loud because of Meta. So I've been literally having my influencing dream happen because of working with Meta. Because Meta is literally Facebook and Instagram, the two
Mm-hmm.
influencing, biggest places.
Wow, you're actually making me want to use Facebook, which I didn't know anybody could ever do. So props to you. Interesting. I feel like this is something I want to explore a lot more
You
now.
should. You should take
Uh-huh.
these creator videos and put them on Facebook. People will love that.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, may as well, right? Like,
Yeah.
All right. I will bring this up to my manager. He'll know just what to do.
Yeah.
Um. Hmm. Well, yeah. Thank you. Thanks for the tip. This is why we have this podcast. So I am kind of fascinated by you and your agency. So like your agency. Uh, I feel like I've heard of people hiring a manager or like companies. But usually it's like an individual or an editor. They kind of hire one person at a time, but you hired a company. So what, like, do you film a video and just kind of send it to them and then they edit it and make a thumbnail? Like, what exactly do they do for you? How much of the process do you have a hand in?
I have pretty much 80% hand in on everything because the content is my content. I structure my videos the way I want. I don't have anyone telling me what to do. I have people giving me ideas, but no one is telling me like how to do my own content. I just had to realize what type of content creator I am, and I am the person that does not like to be told what to do, like at all. And I love to have my own creative control. So when I figured that out about myself, like as a creator, I'm like, okay, now that I know this about myself, what do I need help with? Because help was really something that I had a hard time. Number one, just coming to terms that I needed help. And number two,
Mm-hmm.
coming to terms of how to get help. So I decided that I needed help. And I was like, okay, so when it comes to me needing help as far as like my YouTube and things like that, I knew I wanted a manager just to manage me. Then I found an agency that really is on Facebook full time, and I started working with them, and they don't do anything extra than just taking my videos from YouTube. That was kind of the deal that we played out. You kind of just have to figure out like what type of creator that you are and go through that as far as finding your agency, finding someone that does type of content that you're looking for, because some people like to just be, some agencies like to just take over. And I wasn't looking for an agency
Mm-hmm.
like that. I found an agency that is going to be something for me, and that's who I found. And all they do is take my videos from YouTube and edit them down and put them on Facebook. That's literally all it is. No extra work for me, no really extra work for them. That's kind of just what works for us. And I just think it's just about finding people that is going to be what you're needing and looking for, and not so much just trying to take over your entire brand that you worked so hard for. That's not what's happening. That's not what we're doing. That's not what's needed either, because you should always be able to be a creator because that's what you've been working for, and you just need help. That's just really what it is.
Yeah, and that's the always the smart way to do it. Ultimately, like you're the one who knows your style, your brands, all that stuff better than anybody else. And you can't like you can only hire somebody to help with the peripherals exactly like you're doing. So kudos. Some people are not always that elegant with hiring people. So yeah, I'm glad it's working out and that they are really like helping you out and just sort of expanding your horizons, not so much trying to micromanage or
Right.
anything.
Mm-hmm.
So the next thing I wanted to ask about is your life before YouTube. So what led to all of this? I find there's usually kind of a backstory, a build up, or what have you. Yeah, you made kind of a grimace. So you only have to go into as much detail as you're comfortable. But yeah, are how did your life lead you to YouTube?
It just it literally, I don't even know how we even got here sometimes, because the way that my life started out, so I was in college and I always changed my hair every week. Like, no, I'm not even lying. I changed my hair every single week. I was known as Red Fairy because I always wore the color red at my track meets when I was in college. I went to college and I was on a scholarship for track. So every single track meet, I would always have red, colorful hair. And that's how I got the name Red Fairy. That was the name I started with when I first started my social media in general. But when I was in college, I always changed my hair. I always did my makeup. I always did everything beauty. And this was before YouTube was what it is now. Hair coloring, and all that stuff was not a thing on YouTube at the time. So when I was like, how can I be on YouTube? No one is doing what I'm doing. No one looks like me on YouTube at this time. This was back in like 2014, 2013. YouTube was not what it is now. So I was
Mm-hmm.
very fearful to come on YouTube at that time. So I didn't. And I ended up just graduating from college, working in New York. I was doing a marketing job. That is literally how I know so much about social media now. I feel like everything in my life has happened for a reason. I was working for a marketing place in New York, and I was handling a lot of businesses, Facebooks, Instagrams, things like that, and I learned a lot from that. I ended up getting a chance to have an interview with Ryan Leslie. I don't know if you know who that is. He's an artist from
Hmm.
back in the day. He is an R&B artist, and I saw on Craigslist that they were hiring people to do marketing for Ryan Leslie. And I'm like, let me just apply. I'm probably not going to get it. This guy is famous. Like, it's not going to happen. Whatever. I sent them my resume. I told them what I do at my job in New York. They hit me back, said, come in for an interview. I'm like, what? Okay, cool. I go in for an interview. I meet Ryan Leslie. I start working on his social media for him for only like about 6 months. It was not a long time at all. And I kind of just left that because I learned that the celebrity life was very intense. And I'm like, I don't really know if this is something that I want to do for real. So I ended up leaving Ryan to go and work at Sephora. Let's just say Sephora. I ended up leaving Ryan to go work at Sephora because I wanted to learn more about makeup and beauty and foundations and things like that, but I was like broke. And I knew working at Sephora, I could get educated in beauty, I could get educated in makeup, I could get free makeup because I couldn't afford it. I could not afford $50, $40 foundations at the time, and I just wanted to get really educated, and I knew Sephora was like the best working environment for me at the time. So I ended up working at Sephora for 2 years. I ended up being a certified makeup artist, and then from that I ended up working with celebrities again. And I was doing celebrity makeup, and from that I started recording myself doing makeup on other people. And then at that time, I'm like, I'm sitting recording other people and I need to just be recording myself because why not? Let's just give it a try, see what happens. And now we're here. That's literally how it happened.
Hmm. So it was like I feel like all of that makes sense combining into this channel. Like you have
Literally.
the
Yeah.
makeup, social media, marketing, all of it eventually came together. And when you started your channel, I assume you were like part time for a while. You were kind of doing some of this, some of that. Are you full time now?
I
It
am,
seems like you are.
yeah, I am full time. I started YouTube back in 2008. I did YouTube for about a year, still working at Sephora. I would wake up in the morning at 7 o'clock, film a YouTube video, go to work, come back home, edit the video, wake up again, film another YouTube video. I was literally grinding nonstop for a year. The end of 2018, I quit my job at Sephora. I was not making that much money off of YouTube. I'm like, you know what? I swear I can do this. Like, I feel like I have so much faith that I can really make this happen. And I quit my job at Sephora. And I just said, you know what? I have $200 in my pocket right now. I don't even have money for my rent in a couple of weeks for to pay my bills. But you know what? I am going to make this happen. I started recording every single day nonstop consecutively for weeks and months at a time. And I ended up making so much money in a matter of like 3 months that I just started literally not having to go back anymore to retail, any other job, anything.
That is awesome. Wow. So the like you start recording all these videos. You're full time. You take the bold move to just go full time. Fuck it. $200 in the account. Let's go. Um, I'm curious. Like, what are your monetization avenues exactly? Like, if you could break them down for us. Because there's AdSense. I'm sure there's sponsorships. Facebook, like walk us through like how this became financially sustainable and profitable for you.
Well, the first couple of years, and this is actually what I want to say to make it sound way more realistic for people because it's not just, oh, make a ton of videos, you're going to be a famous YouTuber in a year. That's definitely not what it is. I have been on YouTube for 6 years, and I cannot lie, I did not start really making money like that until maybe 2 years ago. So that means I was on YouTube for 4 years making ends meet to the point where I was able to pay my bills and my rent, but not really extra money. I started doing third party apps as far as the descriptions for the products that you use in your videos. Some of them are magic links, like it. I think it's how you like it, like it. But just third party things that you can start making commission from the products you use in your videos. I then started getting brand deals. I started to get at least 4 to 5 brand deals a month to where I was able to cover my rent, cover my bills, and just cover any extra expenses that I wanted. And then I started getting the idea to start making commission off of the wigs that I used in my videos from the companies and creating my own collections with the companies. And that is when I started really making money because I'm like, I have these ideas all the time in my head as far as coming out with different wigs and styles. And if I can come out with a wig with a company that can manufacture the wig quickly, get the wigs out quickly, and I'm designing them and can make a commission off of them, that is doubling any money that I could possibly have coming in. And I'm not even doing extra work, really. All I'm doing is doing what I've been doing, which is making YouTube videos. And then now I'm getting commission off of it because the wigs that I'm making is from a really good company. I also started doing Facebook. Uh, Facebook is another income. I started doing Amazon. That is huge. I did not know how good Amazon commission was, and so I started doing Amazon commission, and that is just that was a life changer for me as well. Was doing the Amazon, and just not making your job seem more like you're doing more work. So you're already making videos, you're already doing that aspect of the job. And if you just are taking these links and these third party things and just putting those in your description box, it's not making more work for you and you're getting twice the income at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's affiliate marketing is a big one. It sounds like,
Mm-hmm.
and that's always something I wish I have done more of. Obviously, I can change anytime, I suppose, but yeah, I was usually in the realm of just ad revenue, sponsorships, maybe a little Patreon, but affiliate links and kind of getting commission. That does, I mean, for you, it seems like was the real game changer.
Yeah.
Um, I'm curious, like working with this company to sell wigs, for instance, that you design. How, like, I assume you were already working with them, kind of through sponsorships and whatnot. But like, what goes into that exactly? Like, if they have a YouTube channel and they're interested in like, oh, maybe I could work with a company, design something, and sell it. Like, how would one go about doing that?
So it's funny because I actually made a video about this. I needed to find a company that I already was using, like you said. So, someone that I know has a good reputation for selling good wigs to consumers, someone that had a good price for selling their wigs. I didn't want something super expensive, but at the same time had to be good quality. Once I found that company, I reached out to them and was like, hey, I've been collabing with you for so long. And I wanted to see what it would be like if we were to just have a collaboration as far as me making the wigs, you guys selling them to the consumers, but me just designing them on a monthly basis. So now I'm building up my collection. I have a ton of different wig styles to choose from. It's not just one. And we can just see how it goes from there. So I decided to have a contract with them because not only am I getting paid from them every single time I make a video for them, but now monthly I'm getting a commission on top of that. So that's really technically doubling or tripling my income and not really doing extra work because I'm literally already making wig videos in itself. So once we came out with a contract, I was just like, okay, this is how my numbers are looking. This is how many wigs and units I've sold so far. What about having it be like permanent in your collection? And then now that's kind of where I'm at right now with the company is that my wigs have been doing so good on their website and now it's coming to be like a permanent thing to where now instead of it being a 3 or 4 month contract, now it's going to be a yearly contract.
Wow, that is awesome. I feel like I haven't heard that very often, and like that's crazy. Like 6 month year contracts, that's a sign that it's going really well. Usually I hear one off contracts, maybe 3 month contracts, but if a company is willing to do that, I mean, kudos. That's a big deal.
Thank you.
And yeah, like the passive income too. I feel like passive income is it's like a buzzword at this point, but it sounds like you've been able to nail it down. Like I always recommend to people if they can make a product or whether it's a course or a book or something that you can just sort of have available, then people can buy it. Then you've already done the work and it's just kind of there. Maybe you mention it in a video or something, but beyond that, once the work is already done, I feel like it can take a lot of stress off of you and obviously bolster the finances. So
Right.
yeah, it's working.
it, honestly, I learned all of this from working at that marketing company in New York because they literally taught me so much as far as capitalizing without doing the hard and extra work. This is something that I've already been doing for years. So instead of making my job so much harder to make a higher income, how about I just utilize what I've been doing and just solidifying contracts within that? That makes sense to me, makes sense to the company. I've already built up that rapport and just taking advantage of it, honestly.
hmm And so now that you're pretty deep into your YouTube career, your online career, whatever you want to call it, how does your life feel different than before you started? Like when you had a more normal job, now you wake up in the morning and this is your job. Like how do you feel on the inside now versus then?
I feel this is so funny because I was talking to my partner about this like a couple weeks ago, and I was saying that this is what I've been dreaming for so long. Like I have dreamed of the moment where I can wake up and not be stressed about money. I have dreamed for the moment I can wake up and not be stressed about like what I can do to capitalize off of something else or to make my brand a little bit better. Or don't get me wrong, I still do that on a daily basis, but it's not as stressful because I think I've been doing the work and it was just all about trusting myself and trusting the process and also just understanding that everyone's process is different. For the longest time being a creator, I was comparing myself to so many other people. And being a creator is so hard not to do that because it's like it's 50 million of us doing the same
Right.
thing. So to me, it's like, how can I stick out from the other person, but at the same time, still be me and still have people want to watch me, even though there's so many other people, and just staying in my own lane. And there's still work to do as being a content creator. Like, just like a normal person has to wake up and do a 9 to 5, I wake up and do a 9 to 5. The only difference is I'm making my own schedule. So it's not so different than having a regular normal job because I still have to make my own schedule. I'm just on my own time. And if I'm not doing what I need to do as far as making money, then I'm not going to be making money. I also schedule out my own lunches. So just like some people go to lunch at 12 o'clock, I go to lunch at 1 o'clock. I have a 30-minute break, just like everyone else has 30-minute or 15-minute breaks. So I'm just taking like what I've been doing like on a daily basis, but just being my own boss, literally.
Mm-hmm. So how I feel like when I make a schedule, I I'll get things done, but like I can't say like lunch at noon because I end up eating lunch at like 3 or at 11:30 or I don't know. I just like I'm kind of wonky or something. There's especially like you described yourself as a creative person. Clearly you are. I am too, and it's. I feel like one of the hard parts about that is there's almost like a moodiness or something where you make a list yesterday and then the person you are the next day is like kind of different. There's like a different level of motivation or interests. It's like, one day, yeah, I feel like editing a video. The next is like, I don't feel like editing. I feel like writing. Whatever. So how do you kind of flow with that and deal with that while still being your own boss?
So this is so funny because I think this goes to me having PCOS 1,000% because I am so wish-washy with my mind, my thoughts, my moods. That's one of the symptoms is that we can be very moody at any given moment. So what I really learned is I need a schedule. So for example, on Mondays, that's my reset days. I know for a fact I'm not filming those days. I am just recouping my week. I'm cleaning my house. I'm doing my dishes. I'm washing clothes. I'm doing anything I need to do that I haven't done throughout the week or have been putting off. I'm answering emails, like whatever needs to be done that I haven't done last week, I'm doing on Mondays. Tuesdays and Fridays are my filming days. I'm very strict with those. If I'm not filming on Tuesday, I'm filming on Friday for a definite. Wednesday, Thursday are my editing days. Those days I am chilling for 8 hours editing. Doesn't matter if I finished on Wednesday, Thursday, I'm still not going to post the video. I'm going to go through the video again. I'm going to see if there's any mistakes that I've made, anything I can improve on, anything that I can add. I just really stick to a very, very, very strict schedule because if I don't, my mind just goes chaotic and it's a mess. I also take off weekends. I'm very strict on my weekends. I used to work on weekends all the time, but that's not healthy. That's not healthy for me, because I'm human. I like to enjoy myself. I like to give myself a break. I like to spend time with my partner on the weekends. That's strictly to my partner, and I'm very serious about that. So me just sticking to my schedule has really helped me a lot, as well as taking care of my self care, making sure that I feel good about myself. Because if I don't feel good, I'm not getting no work done, like at all.
Mm.
So yeah, just really, really, really sticking to a schedule that works for me. And my schedule may not be the same for everyone else's, but that's why I would just recommend for people to have a schedule that works for them because they know themselves better than anyone else. So, just finding whatever works good for you and sticking to that on a weekly basis because your mind really just gets into a groove of something after 28 days. So if you can stick to it for 28 days, you're going to stick to it for months and years after that. That's my good advice.
That is good advice. I feel like I need to start believing that and just stick to things for 28 days. I'm so like, I kind of inch in the right direction. I get there, but yeah, if I could just go balls to the wall for 28 days, or in a healthy way,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking out loud right now. I like everything you've said here. So yeah, it's kind of interesting that your filming days are Tuesdays and Fridays. Usually, I feel like either filming is one day a week or they're like back to back. But you've chosen to kind of separate them. There's some editing in between, a weekend in between. Why did you decide to do it that way?
It has been a long time coming, coming with a good filming day because I used to film back to back. That didn't work for me. I used to film and then edit and then film and then edit. I felt like my videos were rushed. Some people may beg to differ, but I'm a perfectionist. I'm an Aquarius. Okay. I'm very nitpicky and detail oriented to some things. And it's like wherever I feel like something is not going the way I want to, I'm picking at it. I'm like, no, 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 no. This could be different. I need to improve on that. So again, I know myself and I know how I roll. I know how I work. I know how I rock. And I know that I need time in between every single time I'm filming. So I can film one day and then I can feel a whole different way of how I want to edit the next day. I can go to sleep, feel a whole nother way of how I want to edit the day
Mm-hmm.
after. And then, my mind is just always changing. So if I have those 2 days in between my filming periods, that just, it works for me. And it gives my mind time to breathe. And I just feel like you don't want to overwork yourself because when you're stressed and you're overworking yourself and you're overwhelmed, you're not at your greatest potential creatively. So if you just give yourself a break and it's okay, even if I don't film 2 videos a week, even if I film one video a week, give yourself gratitude. Like it's okay. Like you are tired, you worked long hours, or a lot was going on. Like tell yourself it's okay. No one is going to be over here stressed. Even if your subscribers is like, hey, where's the video? I feel like I've built up a audience for 7 years, 6 years to the point where everyone knows me. And if you're not getting a video on my channel, that means the video is just not ready. And they know that I'm not going to put out just anything. So they know if I'm taking my time and it's like a 2 week period in between I'm like posting, they know the next thing I'm going to be posting is going to be some fire. So I just think that they just, my audience understands me and I understand myself and we're just, in tune with each other. So,
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. Being in tune with your audience is so important. Like if you feel like you're on a treadmill and you're like there, I don't know, you serve them or something, it's so toxic
right,
and it
very.
is not sustainable. I feel like consistency is the big word here. I always ask people like, what is one thing you recommend for succeeding on YouTube? I feel like the word consistency comes up, and you've essentially described a formula for achieving that, which is, give yourself time and a schedule that makes sense. Don't overwork yourself, and I feel like it's healthy. And I mean, you seem very put together and not frazzled or anything.
Thank you.
And hence why it's gonna keep going.
Thank you. That makes me feel good to feel like, okay, I'm on a good roll right now. So I don't
Yeah,
feel
hell yeah.
like I'm just like all over the place. I feel like I have structure.
Yeah, you certainly do. Like way more than me. This is, and which again, I get things done, but it's like it just. I think if I knew exactly what my weeks looked like, it would be a little better. So,
Download the
yeah,
Notions app.
yeah,
Right after this, download the Notions app.
yeah. Let me here. I'm gonna type it into. Otherwise, I'm just gonna like. There we go. Okay, Notion.so.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Right on.
I think
All
it's
right,
like
I got it up here.
$5 a month or so. Actually, I'm gonna email you a template that I use because if you just go on it, it's wild. So I'm gonna actually send you a template that I actually use to make my life a lot easier and just plugged in wherever.
Sounds good to me. Please do. Yeah, that would be awesome. So now, like this is kind of the point where I like I said, I asked that question. What is one thing you recommend to succeed on YouTube? It's kind of a generic question, but I don't know. I'm compiling information, and I always want to hear it, no matter who I'm talking to. What is your golden rule piece of advice for succeeding?
I think the generic thing from a creator is definitely going to be having your own niche. I absolutely feel like that is number one. You have to have a story to tell because you're dealing with about 100 million people on social media trying to be a successful influencer. And someone can have the same ideas as you, but that doesn't mean it's going to be the same when you guys both put them out on social media. So having your own niche, sticking to your own creative style, but also having a crazy support system because we went over the agencies and stuff like that. I literally did not get to where I got to without my manager, without my agencies, without help, without some sort of structure from Notions app. There has to be some sort of system in place for you to get to where you want to get to because you can't do it alone. I used to think I could do it alone, but absolutely not. You just can't. And just coming to terms with that and building up a surrounding to where they are supportive to you. They understand what your goals are. They understand what type of creator you are. Um, and just not having any distractions around you, whether that be, you know, toxic people and just bad energies, because that affects you as a creator too. I used to not think that that was really a factor, but that really is a factor. Just having people around you that is not going to distract you from what you need to do. And energy really is serious, and energy is really a thing. And just really taking that serious because that really affects your mental health. And as creators, that is super serious because we are sitting in front of a camera talking to ourselves every single day. So if we don't have some type of good mental stability around us, that is going to be a huge factor. Um, Also, I think just understanding that your income does not have to be one set thing. I think when I started opening my mind up to other incomes as far as social media platforms like Facebook or platforms that people don't even really know about, Pinterest is actually another good one as far as getting income from. You don't have to go down the same path as everyone else. So everyone is pretty much doing YouTube and Instagram. So just because everyone else is doing that doesn't mean that you have to go down that path too. You can go down a different social media path and it not be the same as everyone else is, but you can be making 3 times as much when you're going and doing your own thing. So I think that's it.
That great advice, especially the like having the right energy around you. I think that's something that gets overlooked, especially if you're like looking up videos or articles of like how to succeed. Usually it's kind of
Very
I don't
generic.
know, like hustle, yeah, hustle porn or something like that. Just like schedule, wake up at 5, blah blah, which can work, but if you don't have a good support system and like you don't have people that are helping you feel good on the inside or even calling you out on your bullshit or like just kind of it's like gently people who are willing to gently help you,
Mm-hmm.
who are going to be there for you, you're there for them. That is the recipe. That's like the foundation, I think, of succeeding in anything, even just in life itself. So I love that advice. I think it's really crucial, and I wish more people took it seriously.
Yes, me too. I think we would see a lot
Mm-hmm.
of different outcomes if that was the case because social media is very superficial, it's very fake, it's very what you see is what you get, it's not deep at all. And I feel like the problem sometimes is that people feel as though what they see on social media are these true people, and a lot of times they're not. A lot of times they have a lot of deep issues going on. A lot of times
Mm-hmm.
people have a lot of mental health issues that people don't even know about. And I just think I'm hoping eventually social media will come to a point where it becomes more realistic, more relatable in the aspect of like, it's okay to cry, it's okay to be upset, it's okay to feel emotions, it's okay to be down and things like that. Like everything does not have to be perfect. And I feel like social media has a reputation of that. And that's what I love about Meta is because I feel like Meta is really pushing for realism and wellness and just real content creating than the superficialness that it has like become.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And so, like, over the years of being online, being an influencer, um, did you like? How did you deal with the pressure of having to be like presentable or like presenting your best life? Because you mentioned there is that pressure of like you should be this person or you should appear to be this person. But there's at some point you decided I'm not going to be that person. Were you always that way, or did you have to figure that out?
I've okay, so I have always been me. I feel like when I came on social media, I saw a lot of people that number one were not my complexion, that were doing the same type of things that I was doing, but I was not getting the views and the same interaction that they were getting. And I started to feel like I had to change myself to fit into this bubble that I felt like social media was going into because that is what people are getting paid off of. These are the views that people are really getting high numbers in. And I started to feel like I had to change myself and change my content to fit into this bubble that was being created on social media. And I started to feel like, okay, well, this really is not what I want to do. This is not the area that I want to go into. I'm not even comfortable being in this type of content. And the moment that I realized that this is not who I am, this is not who I want to be. I want to be Lorraine Andrea, like I want to be myself, is the moment that my social media really took off because I feel like I was genuine in being myself and I was genuine in creating the type of content that I love to create. And I was tired of putting myself in a bubble that I thought I wanted to be in because that was what people was watching. So, kind of just reiterating what I said before is just sticking to who you are as a content creator and not feeling the pressure that you have to be this person that you don't want to be, number one, and a person that you just aren't in general. And when you just
Mm-hmm.
stick to who you are, is when you really start seeing the numbers, is when you really start seeing the money coming in, is when you really start seeing the deals coming in, because you just have to really love yourself. You got this, you are a good person, you're funny, you're this, you're that. Like people are gonna love you for you. And people really, even though it's like through a screen, I feel like people can really sense energies and genuineness. So when you start just really being like true to who you are, people will start to see that and it will start translating in everything else.
Definitely. And like even practically, it's probably easier to come up with ideas. Like because no longer do you have to like filter something. It's like you have an idea. Oh wait, how am I gonna fit it into this box?
Right.
It's
That's
like
literally
that.
what I was doing.
It takes so much longer, so much more energy. It's less efficient. It doesn't even work. Like it's not the '80s anymore. Like you can be yourself online. You don't have to. There's not like a bunch of white dudes in suits, keys to the airwaves, type situation. And it's a lot better. And I think it's time to embrace that. It's certainly something I've been working on as well. Sometimes I'll like hide behind complicated editing, which can be nice. Like good editing is good, but I think authenticity comes in many ways. Sometimes over editing can be a bit of a trap, but that is a tangent. So yeah, we've pretty much almost done an hour. Pretty crazy, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess now that we're towards the end, you mentioned this kind of transition with your channel. Do you have any like new projects that you haven't talked about or new directions that you want to fill us in on?
I don't really know if it's like really new because maybe it may be new to some people, so I'm going to say it anyway. I am working right now with the company I mentioned before, the wig company. We are trying to change the whole wig game. Okay, we are bringing natural Black women textures to wigs. I feel like that is something that has been a struggle for companies years and years and years and years of work, and nothing's have really, things are changing slowly. And I'm just kind of progressing that stage of just being like, okay, this is what needs to be done. This is what people want. This is what people want to see. And just bringing inclusivity to wigs for Black women because that is just something that has just not been done. And I am just trying to bring that to social media because it's more than, the time for it. Also, I am just going to be going into the lane of PCOS wellness. I was kind of doing it before, but I'm going more in depth with it with my content now. I'm not straying away from what I've been doing as far as like wigs and color and natural hair and things like that. I'm just expanding and just opening up more doors, but I'm still sticking true to who I am.
Beautiful. You're kind of building off everything you have, but just more so, and I think that's wonderful. I'm stoked to hear it. Yeah, I mean, with that, we have reached the end. We've pretty much hit the hour. This is around the time I say, pitch wherever people can find you, your website, your, wigs. Where can they find you across all platforms?
They can find me, Laurasia Andrea, on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And I am on Twitter. I don't really use my Twitter. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But still, follow me on Twitter anyway at Red Fairy. And you can also find me at Laurasia Andrea on TikTok as well.
Right on. There you go. Check her out. You will not be disappointed. Laurasia, it has been great talking to you. I really appreciate it. I love your perspective on things. And yeah, I just I feel like I learned a lot. So thank you.
Good. Thank you.
Yep. And with that is a wrap. Whoever you are listening to this, I appreciate you. You're awesome. And I'll see you in the next one.